Alright, today we got something a little bit different. So I'm going to have some Modern Warfare 2019 gameplay running in the background here. So just wanted to talk about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4, which was officially announced just a couple of days ago now. And it's launching on the 23rd of October this year for PS5, Xbox Series S, X and PC of course. But surprisingly, Nintendo Switch 2 as well. Didn't expect that one to be honest, but it's skipping out on the previous console generation entirely, so the studio is focusing fully on current gen hardware, which we'll touch on later in the video here. So going to be talking all about the announcement. There's loads of juicy details here, some stuff you might not have heard if you've not read the blog post, so drop a like if you enjoy this one, subscribe if you're new, and let's get right into it here. We're on Modern Warfare 2019 in the background, just as I said, because probably one of my favourite CODs out of the rebooted Modern Warfare sub-franchise, and honestly probably one of the best looking from a visual standpoint, which is weird to say because it's the oldest, but they actually knocked it out of the park with this one, to be honest, because it just looks absolutely fantastic. When they originally announced this game, obviously people were completely buzzing. It was a return to form, a real reimagining of one of the classic Call of Duties being COD 4, and for the most part it was a pretty grounded experience. It seems like they're trying to emulate that with Modern Warfare 4 here, so they have said in tweets and stuff like that there's not going to be anything outlandish, no wacky skins or anything like we've seen in previous CODs. No! We will see if that holds any element of truth, because they've said the same about Black Ops 7 and then they ended up having horrible crossover events like Fallout and stuff like that, which I like those things, but it just doesn't fit in the Call of Duty universe, so we will see. I hold out faith for that one. We don't know much about the kind of gameplay. They have released quite a lot of details, but if it's going to be similar to Modern Warfare 2019 or a mix of Modern Warfare 2019 and Modern Warfare 3 reboot, it might be pretty special. So they've touched on the movement and stuff. We'll get to that in just a moment, but first I wanted to talk about the campaign. So obviously the campaign is a direct aftermath of the events of Modern Warfare 3. And it's centering around a major conflict in the Korean peninsula this time. With Captain Price obviously returning, and the campaign's going to feature multiple different locations around the world, so while it's centered on the Korean War, it's not all in Korea, so that's quite good to see. So we're going to see lots of different locations. They've said it's going to have a more grounded military tone compared to the recent entries. Black Ops 7, whatever the hell that was. Never played it, but I saw all the memes and oh my good god, so be interesting to get an actual proper grounded gritty story. So it has to be good, honestly, because I will never forget what they did to my boy Soap in the Modern Warfare 3 campaign. Just absolutely heresy, to be honest. There's a pretty great video where it compares the death scenes. Like, I knew it was going to happen because they're retelling the same story. They compared this video compared the death scenes from the OG trilogy to the new one, and you can like see how distressed and distraught Price is at losing his best mate, his apprentice, his buddy. Well, in the rebooted Modern Warfare 3, he's just kind of like, no, it's fine, don't worry about it. You gotta go get some food, guys. He doesn't care. It just, obviously that's an exaggeration, but it's absolutely ridiculous. It had no emotional depth. That you just didn't feel it. He just didn't seem to care. That annoys me big time. So I digress. But the setting and the vibes for the campaign here that they're teasing looks really good, and the visuals as well just look absolutely outstanding. Because it's not limited by that old console hardware, they're really kind of pushing the boundaries here. And it'll be interesting to see the darker side of Captain Price that they're teasing. He's working in the shadows, a bit of a vigilante rogue kind of operative. He's not got all these gadgets with the SAS, so very interesting to see what that's going to be like. On to the multiplayer, so probably the most important part, but not the most surprising. So they say that they're pushing for a more realistic and precise combat experience, more grounded with more precise combat where players have more control over their engagements. Some of the biggest talking points here, so we've got 12 brand new 6v6 maps at launch, and they touch on something called Kill Block, so I'm not entirely sure what it is, but it sounds really good. So a live fire training facility for elite operators, and it gives players a fresh gameplay experience with every new round. This one looks like it could actually be really cool. So the way it works is basically there's like map tiles. They'll have familiar locations in these tiles, and they change on each round, so it's randomized, so you can never see the same combination twice. They say there's over 500 combinations, and that will only expand as the game progresses, so really interesting to see what that will be like. That will be able to keep things super fresh for a long time, so yeah, that sounds really cool. We have the return of dedicated gunfight maps, absolutely fantastic, love to see that, it was a great mode. And we've also got Ground War returning in the form of Big War, hell yeah. We have improved weapon handling systems as well, so recoil, convergence and weapon handling have all been rebuilt to more directly reflect player inputs. Depth of field and visual effects have been refined to improve enemy visibility, and that's without sacrificing the authenticity, the feel of it. Weapons are going to respond more naturally to player movement, stance changes and the environment, creating a more consistent behaviour in every engagement as well. And they've reduced the randomness in gunfight, so they said they've removed hipfire bloom, so this one might be actually a much bigger change than you realise, so really interesting to see how that one plays out. They say that there's no bloom, like it's just been removed, so the quote they've said there's no guesswork, there's no doubt, every shot tells the truth, so that's pretty nice. They've expanded customization and attachment progression as well, so huge changes to create a class as well. They've got the return of a more original gunsmith, kind of like we saw in 2019. Attachments are now shared by weapon class, so it streamlines it a little bit. So if you unlock something for a submachine gun, for instance, it should be available for all submachine guns. And there's also like a system they've teased called, can't remember what it was called actually, but it's like a approved build loader. So if you're not a huge fan of the gunsmith, you can basically like load up Infinity Ward approved build. So if you want your gun like an M4, you want it to be a close range kit, they'll have like a pre-build for that, and you can just load it, so you don't need to fart about with the gunsmith if you don't want to. So pretty cool, because not everyone likes it and it can be quite daunting at times, so yeah, it's pretty good and pretty accessible. They've also teased Apex attachments, so specialised unlocks that you get when you fully progress a weapon, so your reward for maxing out a weapon, a unique modifier that significantly changes how it behaves, so depending on the attachment it can alter firing behaviour, tactical utility, stealth, or how it performs in combat, and it'll let you use that fully leveled weapon in a new way in the gunsmith. It doesn't take up an attachment slot as well apparently, so that is really cool. Interesting to see what cool stuff we'll get with that one. New movement mechanics, obviously they showed this off briefly, so it seems quite fluid. It does look like it's a kind of combination between 2019 and Modern Warfare 3. We've got slide to prone, we've also got supine prone, like we had in Black Ops 6, and we've got the return and expansion of ledge grabbing. I really like that mechanic from Modern Warfare 2. You had your trusted eagle with you, you were hanging on a ledge and you would just pop up and pop somebody's head off. It was absolutely fantastic. So now we're going to be able to shimmy as well with that, so really cool, nice little mechanic. And they also touch on realistic audio propagation, so it's mentioned, and that might be the return of people actually making noise when they move and having to think about it as a mechanic, so I'm very happy with that one, because past few CODs have not been great on the audio front. One of the biggest kind of surprise announcements though is that DMZ is coming back, so to no surprise it's probably because of the success of Arc Raiders, so they've never really gave it a proper chance, because the original iteration of it, I don't think it actually ever left beta stage. It was a fun experience, but it never really took off and it didn't feel like a proper extraction shooter, to be honest. So it would be really cool to see what they're going to do with this one. Hopefully they've been cooking here, so this will probably be the third mode, so we'll have obviously multiplayer, campaign, and third modes normally like zombies or spec ops, so maybe it's DMZ this time around, and we're going to be seeing more of that at Summer Games Fest on the 7th, I believe, so not long now. They describe it as a much larger extraction experience. Dynamic weather is going to be there, evolving objectives, roaming AI threats, persistent progression systems, and a greater focus on player choice and long-term investment. So maybe it isn't just going to be a yearly thing and it will just be abandoned. They're going to support this long-term, which would be absolutely fantastic. They touch a wee bit on progression and prestige as well. So prestige is obviously returning, but we've got multiple paths. So there's a classic style system along with a more modern system, and I think you're going to be able to choose which one you want to like engage in, if you do at all, of course. And that's just really good, to be honest. So more reasons to grind long term rather than having to reset every season like we've seen in some previous COD titles. And just to kind of wrap this up, the current gen focus, so because we're dropping last gen support for consoles here, Infinity Wards have said that the game is going to be able to push larger environments, better visuals, which we've obviously seen from the footage, improved destruction and effects, more advanced PC settings as well. So it's built with a renewed focus on PC, with Infinity Ward and Beanox working together to give players more way to tune performance, visual fidelity, responsiveness and customization if you play on PC. So I'm all for that. That's my platform, so this is absolutely great news. We're going to have all the bells and whistles to push it to the absolute max. We're going to have high-end PC options like DLSS 4.5, real-time ray tracing across campaign, multiplayer and DMZ, improved performance with ray trace reflections, ambient occlusion, shadows, volumetrics and higher fidelity visual effects as well. So we're really going to be able to make this thing look absolutely fantastic on PC. So finally, just a wee bit on Warzone. It's going to integrate with Modern Warfare 4 content and seasonal progression as part of a connected experience between both titles. So not really sure how I feel about that one. I think there's too many fingers in the Warzone pie right now. It needs a refresh. I think it probably needs some sort of reset or reboot. It's just a bit convoluted and complicated at the moment. I've not played it in quite some time. So they did also say that it's not going to be playable on the older consoles, starting with the release of Season 1 for Modern Warfare 4, so beginning June the 4th, you will no longer be able to download it on those platforms. So if you do want to actually play it up until then, make sure you have it downloaded there. You can continue to play it if you have it installed, so I mean that's some pretty crazy news for those of you that are playing Warzone on the older systems, so I do want to know how you feel about that one. But to conclude the video here, pretty buzzing about Call of Duty this year, so I did take a bit of a break. I've hardly really touched Black Ops 7, and Modern Warfare has always been my favourite sub-franchise, but I want to hear from you down in the comments. So are you excited? Are you not interested? How are you feeling about what we've heard so far? If you have made it to the end here, we'll appreciate it if you drop a like. Subscribe if you're new here for more content. But thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.